So, Justin was quickly thrown into the deep end with Usher and his music biz crew thanks to their mutual connection, Scooter. Usher really took a shine to Justin and even became his mentor. But Usher's lessons weren't just about the tunes, he showed Justin the behind-the-scenes action too. That's how Justin met the big boss, Diddy. They first crossed paths back in 2009 when Justin was only 15. There's this video from when they met, and honestly, it's a bit unsettling. Diddy was all like, for the next 48 hours, he's with me and we're gonna go wild. Even talking about chasing girls, which was pretty odd considering Justin was just a kid. The age gap really threw people off. Like, why was a 40-year-old chilling with a 15-year-old? And Diddy being all mysterious about their plans didn't help. He even hinted at giving Justin a car and later a house when he turned 18. Sounds a bit dodgy, right? Some folks started wondering if Diddy was pulling Justin into some sketchy scenes, maybe even getting him started on a party-heavy, risky lifestyle. Despite all the weird vibes, Justin didn't badmouth Diddy afterward. He kept praising the guy's mentorship, but there was this one time caught on video where you could cut the tension with a knife. Diddy was in the studio pressing Justin, who was 16 then, asking why he wasn't hanging out like before. Justin seemed super uncomfortable just dodging the questions.
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
People started to think something must have gone down that made Justin wary of hanging out with Diddy. But with the crowd he was running with, it seemed like he didn't have much choice but to stick around. Some even speculated that these tough times might have pushed Justin towards substance abuse as a way to cope with all the stress and danger associated with Diddy. There was also talk about Usher regretting his own wild days at Diddy's parties when he was younger. Usher even admitted that Diddy wanted to toughen him up, but some of the stuff he saw at Diddy's place when he was just 13 was way over his head. He was like, "It was wild, but I don't know if I got what was going on." So yeah, it seems like hanging with Diddy was a real eye-opener for both Justin and Usher. So here's the scoop. Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, they were totally clueless about the good time Usher was having. Like seriously, was he stuck doing chores or anything? Were they making him do the dishes? It's a way to keep him grounded, right? Or was he just partying up till 4 a.m. with them? He totally could. In fact, Usher stayed up even longer than planned because Puffy, who was supposed to work on his record, was running late. When Usher met up with him, he found Puffy super chill. Puffy was just starting out, trying to make a name for himself. He had a few artists under his wing and was really working hard to get his label off the ground. Usher had known him for a long time as someone who's always grinding. Puffy actually finished up Usher's first album, and they've stayed friends ever since. Even Usher said in his 2017 Oprah Masterclass that when he was 13, he felt more mature than his mentor. They used to butt heads a lot. Usher thinks Puffy would tell him to cool it, just relax a bit, because he was way too intense. But hey, Usher was there to work, not party. And at 13, he definitely wasn't up for the club scene. He saw a lot and was put in some tricky situations where he had to make some tough calls about who he wanted to be. New York was just too fast-paced for him. He only spent about a year there, and even now, with Diddy's legal issues floating around, Usher hasn't commented on them. But in a past chat with Stern, he did mention that life as a dad now is crazy, and no way would he send his kid to a Puffy camp.
We would fight. We would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, "Man, you got to chill. Like, you're just a little bit too intense. You got to relax. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs?"
So some big lawsuits have hit some really high-profile guys like Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, Axl Rose, and Sean Diddy Combs. These are some major names in showbiz. Now, talking about the latest scoop on Diddy, on February 26, 2024, a producer named Rodney Lil Rod Jones went ahead and sued him in New York. Lil Rod says that he was put in some pretty awkward spots by people linked to Diddy who apparently were doing what Diddy told them to. Basically, he was pushed into doing some really dodgy stuff with folks Diddy hired. Lil Rod worked with Diddy from September 2022 till November 2023, and he's saying Diddy really made his life tough for over a year. He's even got videos and audios as proof, showing Diddy and his team getting into some seriously illegal stuff. The lawsuit also drags in Daphne Joy, who used to date 50 Cent and is the mom of one of his kids, claiming she was involved too. On top of that, the lawsuit claims Diddy threw some wild parties where things got out of hand with underage girls and illegal stuff going around. And it seems some big shot record label execs turned a blind eye to it all because they got to rub shoulders with celebs and important folks like Prince Harry. By the way, there's no claim that Prince Harry did anything wrong or even went to these parties. Diddy's lawyer has hit back, telling the Los Angeles Times that these accusations are just sensational stories that never happened. Then there's this guy, Ryan Mendelsohn, 20, who used to hang around the area near Diddy's place in LA. He told reporters that he often saw parties going on till dawn and girls hanging around the house coming and going. Ryan said he didn't think much of it until all this news came out. Now, he finds it all pretty wild. So back in November last year, Joey Dickerson Neal decided to take some serious action and sued this guy, Combs. She said that way back when she was in college around 1991. Combs filmed her without her knowing during a pretty bad moment, according to what NBC News shared. Joey explained that she kind of got pressured into having dinner with Combs on January 3rd, 1991. She really didn't want to go, but ended up saying yes. She claims that night ended up being a nightmare because she couldn't even stand or walk on her own, and BBC News reported on this too. The worst part? She said Combs took a video of the assault and even showed it around to others. After all this happened, Joey didn't just stay quiet. She went to the police in both New York and New Jersey and even talked to some prosecutors. But her work buddies were super scared to back her up. They were afraid Combs would come after them and they'd lose out on future gigs in music and business if they spoke up for her. NBC News got this info from the lawsuit documents. But Joey isn't the only one speaking up. Since November, 3 other women stepped forward with their own lawsuits against Combs in the Southern District of New York. They claim Combs did some really terrible things to them too, and 2 of these women were just teenagers when it happened, NBC News reported. Then there's another story from November about an anonymous woman who said that both Combs and another singer, Aaron Hall, did some really awful stuff to her and her friend back in the early 90s. They met these guys at an MCA Records event in New York where Combs and Hall were being super flirty and offered them drinks. Rolling Stone reported that the woman and her friend ended up at Hall's place for an after party, and things got really out of control. She felt super weird afterward and later found out her friend had a similarly terrible experience with these guys. A few days later, Combs supposedly showed up at the place where she and her friend were staying, and things got really aggressive with her friend, the lawsuit claims. And it doesn't stop there. In December, another lawsuit popped up where Combs was accused by someone named Jane Doe of forcing himself on her back in 2003 at his New York studio, and then things got even worse with 2 of his buddies. This lawsuit describes some kind of shady setup where Jane Doe was flown in from Michigan to New York on a private jet, all part of what was called a weird business scheme. Despite all these serious accusations, Combs is totally denying everything. He put out a statement in December saying the allegations are disgusting and he thinks the women are just after his money. He's adamant that he didn't do anything wrong and is ready to fight to clear his name and protect his family. His lawyer, Sean Hole, called the stories in the lawsuits pure fiction. Do you think everything we discussed today is true, or is it all just lies? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
Take care of yourself.